The 15-minute hip mobility sequence that you're about to see has a lot to do with making space in the hip joint, that ball and socket joint. So if you notice that when you're sitting on the floor, maybe in a simple cross-legged pose, and the knees don't really fall down to the sides, or you find that it's even hard to hold that posture, you might have some tight hips. We do a lot of running, of swimming, of marching, of cycling in the military, and that creates a very parallel movement with the legs. We don't often take the knees out to the side and just kind of get a little bit more use and full mobility into those hips. So this is a great 15-minute sequence if you have the time. Maybe you learn some of the things and then you just use them individually, either at the beginning or especially at the end of a workout or a practice. It's a good way to start to slow the body down and prepare for a final rest, if possible, maybe 3 to 5 minutes.
So go ahead and come to a comfortable seated position to begin. The hands just kind of gently resting on the knees, the ankles gently crossed. Grounding down through the sit bones, draw your shoulders back a little bit. And then the more that you press down into the sit bones, find that rebound effect up through the spine, all the way up through the crown of the head, and soften the chin. So the chin is just kind of parallel with the ground in front of you. Take a really deep breath in through the nose, and a really big breath out through the nose. Just let it go. It's always good to kind of start in this place just to settle in, to refocus no matter what the day's been throwing us. Good, so take a few breaths just like that. Deep breath in through the nose, filling up the belly, fill up the chest. And then on your exhale, gently release, sighing away the day. And we'll start with this hip opening sequence by lying on our back. So go ahead and lie back to begin. Gently roll into the spine, draw the knees into the chest, give them a big squeeze into the belly. Yeah. So hug them in towards center line first into the belly area. And then start to take the knees a little bit wider towards the armpits and hug them in there as well. And as you're kind of wrapping around them and squeezing down into them, relax the sit bones back down onto the earth. Relax the shoulders down onto the ground. So the upper body is kind of relaxing down, the hips are relaxing down, and you're still drawing those knees down in towards the armpits. Keep hold of the left leg and then extend your right leg nice and long. Good, so right leg comes out nice and long onto the mat. And then draw the left knee. It might come a little bit deeper now that you're just doing one side, down in towards the armpit, while still relaxing that left shoulder. Good. And then bend through the right leg, bring the sole of the foot to the ground. And we're gonna make like a little figure 4 with the leg. So cross your left ankle on top of the right thigh. And you'll notice here that it's not on his knee. It's a little bit lower than the knee, but the ankle and the foot part is coming past the leg. So the foot is kind of open here in space. Flex into that foot, yeah. And then reach the arms through. Take your left arm through the center of the legs and reach back to take hold of the back of the right thigh. Lifting the shin up towards parallel and then flex through both feet. And this will really protect the ankles. It'll protect the knee joints. Good. Now soften through the shoulders. And then begin to draw that left knee forward and away from you. Yes, good. So you can press into my hand a little bit here. He might even use his left elbow to kind of give his left thigh a little bit more of a press forward and away from him. And take a few really deep breaths down into that left hip here. Good. Nice. And then slowly release. Take both legs back out in front of you. And then we'll switch sides. So untangle that right leg off, draw the left knee in towards the chest. Extend out, opposite side, right leg. We don't want to do the same way, you'll be walking out of here all funky. Good, so draw the right knee in, extend out through the left leg, and then hug it in towards that armpit. Yeah, just give it a little squeeze. It might even kind of squeeze into the digestive tract, into the organs here for a moment, kind of wringing everything out. And then bend through the left knee, bring the sole of the foot to the ground, and cross the right ankle now across the leg. The arms this time will reach through and take hold of the back of the left leg. And then flex, as soon as those feet lift, flex in towards the feet. Good, relax the shoulders back, relax the head, and then start to draw the right knee away from you to get deeper into that right hip area. Nice. So see how this ankle is kind of rolling open a little bit. Flex into the foot more, yeah. So that protection there is what we're looking for. The foot is off the side of the knee. Good, then keep drawing this left knee even deeper in towards you. Draw the left knee in towards you. Yeah, and then use that to press that right knee away. Good. Another deep breath in. And slowly release. Take everything back down to the ground. Hug the knees in one last time. Both knees squeeze into the chest. And then roll forward and back. Gain a little bit of momentum. So rock forward and back. Yep, gain some momentum. And then when you rock all the way up and forward, cross the ankles, step back, downward facing dog. Straight back to down dog. Good. And you might just want to kind of pedal out through the legs here for a moment. Yeah, so bending into one knee and then the other. Spread the fingertips nice and wide. Reach those sit bones back and up. So it's more important to have a bend in the knees here in this nice kind of flat spine. His head is resting right between the arms, awesome. And then keeping this place with the upper body and that left leg, extend the right leg up and back behind you. Keeping the hips closed at first, square off to the ground. Good. And then start to open up that right hip by stacking it on top of the left. So he's gonna open up the hip, yeah. Stack the right hip on top of the left, and you'll see that he's kind of dumping into the left side of the body. Re-extend through the left side, that's really natural, it's gonna happen. Re-extend through the left side of the body, draw the outer left hip away from the left shoulder, and then roll that right hip onto the left. Yes, now bend into the right knee, and lift through the inner part of your right knee up towards the ceiling. Good. And then we're just gonna take some knee circles. So take the knee straight back towards me. Good, keep the knee bent, take it forward towards that right shoulder, and then point the knee straight back towards the wall behind you. And we'll do that again. Draw the knee open and wide, take it forward, and take it back. One more time, draw it open, forward, take it back, and then we'll switch directions. Now draw the knee into the chest. Those big circles, so just kind of juicing up through the hips here. It's like oil in a car, right? So we gotta just kind of get some lubrication going on through those hips. And then after the third one, re-extend into the right leg and place it down. That's all right, place it down. Good, pedal out through the legs here for a moment. Notice the difference in the hips, right? So you're probably gonna feel a little bit different in the hips. Just kind of pay attention to that for a moment. And then get ready to extend that left leg up and back, take the left leg back. Good, starting with the hip closed. Shoulders are square, hips are square. He's pressing out through the back of the left knee. And then go ahead and open up that hip, stack the left hip on top of the right. So this time he's got a much longer stance, staying nice and lengthening through the right part of the body, drawing the outer right hip back, bend into the left knee, and then lift through the inner part of the left knee. Yeah, so this kind of opening going through the hip. And then we'll take 3 circles in each direction again. Take the knee straight out to the side, take it forward towards the shoulder, and then point it straight towards the back of the room. Good, take 2 more like that. Nice and slow, just kind of getting into all those areas where stuff is kind of tight and stuck. Yeah, and then switch the direction. Good. For 2, and 3. Hug the knee in, take it wide, re-extend the left leg. Exhale, step the left foot down to meet the right. Go ahead and pedal out through the legs there for a moment. Inhale, lift your right leg up and back. Exhale, very slowly, he's gonna step his right foot all the way forward in between his hands and spiral the left sole of the foot down into the earth. Cartwheel it open, warrior 2. Nicely done. So a bend into this front knee. You'll notice his right toes are pointing straight to the front of the room, and then he's pressing back into the outer part of that left foot. His shoulders are stacked nicely over the hips. Draw the tailbone down towards the earth. Good, and then soften the gaze over those front fingertips. Relax everything in the upper body here. So all of this powerhouse and this energy is coming up through the feet, it's coming up through the center line of the back, and then it's shooting out through the fingertips in equal and opposite directions. Good, go ahead and flip your palms up towards the ceiling for a moment. Bend slightly into the elbows, and you're gonna imagine like 2 platters of really delicious food just kind of resting on those hands for a moment. So super heavy, right? It's kind of causing the elbows to bend and drop down, and this just kind of reminds us to keep our shoulders away from our ears. Gives us a little bit more space there. Keep that action of the shoulders softening down, and then go ahead and reflip the palms. Good, take 1 more deep breath in. Exhale, bend deeper into this right knee. Good. And then take both hands down onto the earth, right to the inside of the right foot. Come up high onto the back toes and drop the back knee down. So this is really good here if you have 2 blocks nearby and possibly a blanket. You might want to use that blanket underneath the back knee if it's feeling a little bit kind of twerky on the mat there, or you can just kind of roll the mat over twice. And I'm gonna place these blocks in front of him on the lowest setting to start with. Go ahead and wiggle this right foot forward. More. So as you come into this deep low lunge here, the knee would have been in front of that ankle, so I had him move the foot forward, so now the knee is directly on top of that ankle. Good, staying high up on the blocks at first. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Draw the chest towards the front of the room, nice. And then on your exhale, start to lean down into this, almost like you could take the sternum down towards the mat. Good. You might take your forearms down onto the blocks. Yeah, so he's pretty flexible here. This might not happen for you, right? You might stay on those palms, and that's gonna be a perfect place to be. But wherever you are, find that spot right between the back of the shoulder blades and soften in there. Good. Good, hug the right knee in towards midline and press strongly and firmly down to the inner part of that right foot. Good, stay here and breathe. If you're really feeling like you wanna take this deeper today, you could tuck into the back toes and lift that back knee off the ground. So he's going for it today, right? Pressing out through the back knee, press the heel towards the back of the room. Nicely done, but then re-soften in through the back of the spine. Yes. Lift the outer left hip a little bit more. Good. 2 more breaths here. Big breaths out. Really exhale and let all that tension go. So we're getting deep into the front of that left hip flexor, the psoas, this right hip. Good. And then slowly take your hands back down onto the ground or onto the blocks. Good. You can drop the back knee down for a moment. Nice. And then move the blocks out of the way, palms onto the earth. Good. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. How those hips feeling right now? Left leg wants its turn, left leg wants its turn. Good, extend the left leg up and back. And then very slowly, with control, mindfully step that foot forward and wiggle it all the way in between the hands. Good. Take the back sole of the foot onto the ground and he'll cartwheel open, warrior 2. So lift the back knee. Good, spiral the back foot down, cartwheel open, warrior 2. Nice. As he's bending into this front leg, he's externally rotating this leg so that the kneecap starts to point over towards that pinky toe. His tailbone is drawing straight down towards the earth and soften down through the shoulders. Soften the gaze, soften all into the breath, and get this kind of water-like quality of the upper body. So I want it to be a little bit loose. So warrior is a very strong and intense kind of pose, but there's this kind of lightness, this kind of art to it, right? So soften through the upper body a little bit. Take one more deep breath in. Stay here, bend a little bit deeper into the left knee. And then cartwheel both hands down to the inside of that left foot. Come up high onto the back toes, drop the back knee down onto the earth. Lizard pose on the opposite side. So the blocks are nice and close again. Wiggle the left foot forward. And this leg might be totally different than the other leg, right? So you might be a lot more flexible in one versus another. So maybe this time he's gonna stay into the palms. Maybe he'll come back down into the forearms. Wherever you are, they're trying to evenly position the weight in between the hands or the forearms, wherever you are. Good. Hug the left knee in towards midline. Take a really deep breath in. And then exhale, start to take the sternum, that chest, down towards the earth. Good. And then just breathe into this, feel what's going on. Maybe this side is saying, I'm perfectly happy here, leave me here, I don't want to go any deeper. But if you really want to, you could tuck into the back toes and lift the back knee off the ground. But sometimes it just feels good to stay nice and low. So take your pick of what you need today. Good. Another deep breath in, shift your gaze right to the front of the mat here for me, yeah. Lengthen through the back. Press down through the hands. Yes. And then exhale, drop the back knee down. Release the blocks out from in front of you. Good. Step it back, downward facing dog. Good. And pedal out through those legs. Whew, nice, nice. Slowly walk the feet all the way to the front of the mat. So walk them all the way forward. Bend deeply into the knees so the legs don't have to stay straight. Yeah, bend into those knees, hands onto the hips. And then inhale, come up with a flat spine. Yeah, nice and slow, come up with a flat spine. Little back bend there, huh? Needed that one. Good, we'll do one more standing kind of hip opener and then we'll come down onto the mat. So step the feet hip distance apart and then evenly kind of shift the weight back and forth between the feet. Yeah, draw your right knee up into your chest by shifting the weight into the left foot. And I'm gonna step away from him. So right knee into the chest. He's gonna find a point on the ground or maybe out in front of him to focus on here. Good, flex into the right foot. And then find your figure 4. So cross that right ankle over the left leg. Start to sit into a chair. You can leave the hands on the hips or you might even bring the hands in towards heart center, right? So when you press the palms in towards one another, the energy of the body starts to stay right in the midline. It makes balance a little bit easier. Good, as he sits a little bit deeper, he's gonna keep breathing for me. Good, and draw the shoulders back over your hips. Yeah, one more breath in. Sit a little bit deeper on the exhale. Feel all that wiggling going on, find the balance. Good, balance today. Inhale, come all the way back up, draw the right knee into the chest. Exhale, release the right leg down, shake it out. Good, just shake out the legs there for a moment. Yeah, oof. Left side, left turn, right? Shift the weight into the right leg and then slowly start to draw the left knee up. As soon as that foot lifts off the ground, he's gonna flex into it and make sure that it's kind of engaged. Yes, flexing into that foot, hands onto the hips. And then the ankle is staying flexed, so when it crosses over that right thigh, so cross the ankle over the right thigh, and you sit down into that figure 4, he's protecting that ankle joint. All right, go ahead and sit down. You can take the hands into heart center again, press the palms in towards one another. Really push, activate that energy between the hands. Yeah, push the hands in. Good. Inhale. Exhale, sit a little lower. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Draw the left knee into the chest. And exhale, release it down. Good, shake out the legs for a moment. And then we're just gonna take it down into downward facing dog. So as gracefully as you can, take the hands to the earth, go ahead and step back, downward facing dog. We're setting ourselves up for pigeon. Really good to have at least one block next to you, possibly two. And I'm gonna take the block on its lowest setting. I'm gonna place this blanket over it. Now you might need to take the block on the second highest setting here and place it over that. Extend your right leg up and back. Now his right knee is gonna come to his right wrist. His right ankle is gonna go over towards the left wrist. And we're gonna position this blanket on top of this block underneath his right hip. Go ahead and sit down onto that. Yeah. Wiggling the left toes back and away. And if this is too much on that right knee, then don't come into pigeon, right? So if you're feeling any tension, any torquing kind of going on in that knee, I want you to back off and you can come back into that reclined pose that we found at the beginning, the figure four. You could even do it seated here, just kind of staying here and sitting upright, lifting the chest up towards the shin. So if you feel anything in this knee in pigeon pose, I want you to really kind of back off. But flex into that right foot. Good. So flex into the right foot as much as possible. Inhale, lift the chest up halfway. And then he's gonna exhale and start to take it down. Pretty flexible here. He's got his forearms down in the mat. He might even take a block in between the hands and let his forehead rest onto the earth. Good. So this hip mobility that we're kind of talking about, it's so important in what we do, you know, between running and cycling and swimming and ruck marching. Everything that we do has very parallel legs, right? And so by opening the hips, we're trying to kind of get into those areas that we don't usually use. By letting the hips kind of open up a little bit more, a lot of tension is held into the hips. Good. And you might notice that the longer that you stay in these poses, the more they start to complain to you. So just kind of talk back to them, tell them it's gonna be okay. Take a few more breaths into that space and soften in. Good, all the while lengthening out through the spine. And exhale, each exhale, just trying to sink in a little bit deeper, release to a little bit softer place in that hip. One more deep breath in. And exhale. And then very gently take your hands back down to the earth. Walk your palms back in towards that right knee. So coming out of pigeon pose is, there's kind of an art to it, and I want you to kind of listen carefully to this one. So tuck into the back toes, and this will help kind of protect the knees and protect that front ankle. Flex into that front right ankle. Yeah, flex into the front right ankle, and then you're gonna lift both knees off the ground at the same time, lift the right foot off the ground, and step back, downward facing dog. Yeah, so we wanna try and do all of that at the same point. Good job, good job. And we'll switch to the opposite side. I'm gonna bring that blanket and the block around. Extend your left leg up and back. Left knee comes forward towards the left wrist, left ankle towards the right wrist. Yeah, and then he's gonna sit back and down onto this blanket and the block. Now this might be the kind of thing where you have like a few blankets underneath there, or maybe even 2 blocks. Some people might need a little bit more length and more lift there in that left hip. And then if you notice that your hips are kind of rolling to one side, I want you to try and square the hips back off through center. Yeah, so we wanna roll off to that left side. It makes it easier on us. Try and drop back through center. Take a deep breath in from the length. And then as he exhales and folds forward, he's gonna flex into that front foot and make sure he's protecting that front knee and ankle. If you notice that your back foot is kind of sickling in or turning in a little bit, just kind of point the toes back. And the only way you're really gonna know that is if you look back there, right? Because sometimes you can't really feel those things going on. Good. And then send the breath down into that hip. You can take the forearms down if you wanted to on the other side. You could always take the forearms down onto a block. And then just breathe into this place. So you could come into pigeon, you know, if you only have 5 minutes during your day or during your practice, pigeon is one of the best ones to kind of get into those hips and just but if you're coming through kind of a quicker practice or something, at least try to stay there for about 5 to 8 breaths, right? Because a lot of pigeon pose doesn't happen until a little bit further on through the breath. Take another 2 deep breaths here. See how nice and long his spine is. There's no kind of curving going on. If you did see that curvature, you felt it in the back body, you'd bring the floor up to you with some blocks. Deep breath in, exhale, release. Sending the breath down into that left hip, and then gently walk your hands back in towards you. Same idea, tuck into the back toes, flex into this front foot, and then at the same time, you're gonna lift both knees, lift that front ankle, step it back, downward facing dog. Nice, I'm gonna slide this out from under him, Pedal out through those legs for a moment. It might feel good to take a few like kind of hip circles again like we did earlier, and then go ahead and drop down onto your knees. Yeah, sit back, roll off to one side, go ahead and lie all the way down. Bring your legs forward. Good. Scoot forward and lie back. Bend into the knees at first, yeah. And then take your feet nice and wide. Nope, so bend into the knees, yeah, feet wide. And then just drop one. Go ahead and windshield wiper those knees. Drop one knee in. This just kind of releases into the lower back. A nice little counter pose for all that hip work we've been doing. One more squeeze into the knees, into the belly, into the armpits. Go ahead and hug the knees in towards you. Rock side to side, forward and back. And then when you're ready, extend the legs out long. Take them to opposite corners of the mat. So reaching the legs out long, arms by your sides, palms facing up. Setting yourself up for final rest, and maybe staying here for 3 to 5 minutes if you can carve out that time in your day, just to let everything sink back in. Breathe into any areas where there's still tension hanging out. And just relax.